everyone, it's Milo here, and I want to share with you some of the Magic Origins cards I put into the Noob Cube. I know a lot of you have been asking what are your top picks for cube cards from Magic Origins, and this is a little late, but I thought better late than never. And to talk specifically about the budget cards in the set that I think are going to be great in budget cubes. I think that it's a lot more useful than saying all the Planeswalkers and hanger back whatever guy. He's going to be great in cube. So, without further ado, here are my favorite cards from Magic Origins that are going into the Noob Cube. So the first card I wanted to talk about is one of the cards that I'm most excited about. It's called Magmatic Insight. And Magmatic Insight is 1 red sorcery, discard a land card, draw 2 cards. If you remember Tormented Voice from Khans of Tarkir, it's basically the same thing, except it says that you have to discard a land card as opposed to any card, but it costs 1 less. So it's amazing in Noob Cube with Prowess because it's so cheap and it draws you cards, and it's really good in Delve as well because it's a 1 mana spell that lets you put 2 cards in the graveyard and draw 2 cards. In a lot of situations, even if it's your only land, it might be right to discard it thinking that you are going to draw a land in the 2 that you pull. I think it's a great card, not just for Noob Cubes, but I think cubes everywhere are going to be playing it, and you should pick up your foils now. The next red card I want to talk about, I love red cards, and this one is super because it costs 1 red. It's Goblin Glory Chaser. So I think red could always use more 1-drops, especially budget ones for Noob Cube. And I think you can compare it to Stormkirk Noble from Innistrad, which was a 1/1 vampire for 1 red, and it can't be blocked by humans, and when it attacks and deals damage to a player, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. This guy only gets 1/+1/+1 counter just the first time it deals combat damage, but it gains Menace, which can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures, which I think is better than cannot be blocked by humans. Plus you can sack Goblin Glory Chaser to Siege Gang, and if you're playing it in a cube that has Rabble Master, it pumps Rabble Master. There's a lot of like incidental benefits for having a Goblin over a Vampire in most cubes, and that's something that should be considered as well. Moving on to green, we have Honored Hierarch. It's a lot like Goblin Glory Chaser in that it's a 1/1 Renown 1 for 1. It doesn't gain Menace when it gets Renown. Instead, it has Vigilance and the ability to tap to produce any color of mana. This is not Lawn or Elves or Birds of Paradise or even Noble Hierarch, but this is different in that it's an aggressive card in the very early stages of the game, like turn 1, maybe turn 2, and then after that, it's a ramp creature that can attack. And at late game, it helps you ramp into the Genesis Hydras or the bigger creatures. Bigger creatures like Outland Colossus, which is the next card on the list. It is 6/6 with Renown 6 for 5. And then when it's Renown, I think it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. It's like Reverse Menace, the anti-menace. I just think that green needs a lot of fat dudes. If they're going to have a lot of ramp, they need a full-on strategy here, and I think that renowned Outland Colossus is a perfect choice for that strategy. So the last card I want to talk about for green is Conclave Naturalist, which is a strictly better Indrik Stomp Howler, in that when it comes into play, it doesn't force you to naturalize your own artifact or enchantment if your opponent doesn't have one. Which is, definitely better. I just like that you can ramp into a bigger creature and still get like a utility ability, like a naturalize on it. Moving on to blue, we have Jessamine Thief. This is kind of a pet card for me, putting it in the Noob Cube. There was a card, Ophidian, back in the day that I used to play in my original cube, and it used to be great, and I had amazing fun with it. Since then, creatures have gotten a lot better. Now this is like a strictly better Scroll Thief, so it's 1/3 when it deals combat damage to a player. You can draw a card, but it has Prowess for 2 and a blue. We're gonna, maybe it won't be good enough. Maybe it will be, but I'm excited to try it out and see for myself. Whirler Rogue is a card that is seeing play at the Pro Tour, Magic Origins Pro Tour, which is absolutely insane. It's 2/2. For 2 blue that comes into play with 2 1/1 Thopters, and you can tap 2 artifacts you control to make a creature unblockable. which is pretty crazy. Like, even if you think of it just power and toughness wise for blue, you're getting 4 power, 4 toughness for 4 mana in blue. This used to not be a thing. Back in the day, it was a good green card if it came out as a 4/4 for 4. And now we're getting it in blue, and half of that is flying power and toughness, which is way better than just a static 4/4. Plus, in cube, enters the battlefield abilities are really easy to trigger. In fact, I would go as far as to say that that is an archetype in almost every cube, is blinking creatures, reanimating creatures, and just abusing those enters the battlefield abilities. So I definitely think Whirler Rogue is not only going to see play in this new cube, but in a lot of cubes everywhere. Consul's Lieutenant is the only Magic Origins white card I've added to the new cube. It's kind of aggressive, and which is good because white's one of the aggressive colors in the cube, and then it also pumps all of the tokens that white would make, so it's really good in that strategy. I'd like to see how it plays out. I had a lot of fun playing it at the pre-release, so I know it's pretty good. I also want to mention that there were 2 cards that were actually in this cube that I had to take out due to price. So I originally had Abbot of Carol Keep, which we all now know is a complete all-star in Standard, and I'm pretty sure in most cubes. Just the card advantage that the Abbot could give you is fantastic. The second card that I had to take out of the cube due to cost was Demonic Pact. There aren't a lot of ways to abuse Demonic Pact, but I thought it was so cool, and I thought it would make for a really entertaining matches on for the new cube. But again, I had to take it out because the price went up. Because this is Pro Tour! But maybe eventually those are the type of cards that I would put back in when Magic Origins rotates out of Standard. And if you have any suggestions for cards that I missed to add to the new cube, let me know. The description of this video will contain the link to the new cube on Cube Tutor. You'll see all the changes I made. I made a lot of changes that weren't Magic Origins, so check those out. Let me know what you think, and hit me up on the comments. Bye, everyone.